Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my video where I ranked 6 through 10 and again let you know my thoughts on these teams and where I think they might be heading. Again, maybe some players to highlight real quick, and we'll get going on that. So getting right into it, at number 6 on my list, I got the Knoxville Ice Bears. I think this team is a very much improved team from the team they had last year. Definitely more skilled players, and they shored up their back end with a Mundinger at goalie. I think that was a giant asset. You like what I did there? But no, they are very much improved all the way around, from offense to defense to special teams. They will compete much better than last year, and in my opinion, will most definitely make playoffs. Now, what they do in the playoffs is up for debate, but I do think this team definitely has the talent on paper to make a playoff appearance. Players like Skelly has been playing big roles, and he's a defensive man, and he's one of the leading point getters for Knoxville Ice Bears. You got the Soper brothers, Derek Osick, Mitch Atkins, like I said, Mundinger. You definitely got some skill in there. Players that can put the puck in the net, and you got players that can protect Dinger and everything. They just need to gel together and work on their chemistry, and this team's going to do good things. Very good reason to be excited in Knoxville for this team. If you can keep them together and keep them healthy, I think you'll see this team in the playoffs at the end of the season. Moving on for my number 7 team, and I don't think they'll be here long. I'm sure they'll move up the list pretty quick, and that's the Roanoke Railyard Dawgs. Again, I think they had a rough start to the season, especially with their goaltending and team defense. It was not sharp to start the season. I do think that's improving, and I think you've seen that against the Rivermen. So, again, like I said, there's some new faces on that team, mixed in with some veterans that are trying to gel together, and you see them doing that as well as the other teams. You got returners like Mac Jansen and Nick Ford that kind of flip-flop. Nick Ford is now captain, and Mac Jansen's an alternate captain. Jacob Kelly, I think, is a big name for the Dawgs to watch out for. Smirnoff, I think he's a player to watch out for. I think eventually he'll get on the point sheet. But again, he's a hard-nosed physical player for the Dawgs and not afraid to grind it out. And, Tim Kent has been a pleasant surprise and doing good things for the Dawgs as well. These guys are going to be key contributors if they can stay down here with the Dawgs and stay healthy. There's good things in the Dawg future. If they just need to get better on team defense, and they need a stronger showing with Rodebush at net. Again, Rodebush made some good saves. I'm not saying he's not a good goalie, but I think he can do better. I think he can play better, and I think he would be the first to tell you that. So we'll see where they end up throughout the season, but right now I got them at number 7. Okay, now before I get into the next 3 teams, these next 3 teams I think will stay at the bottom throughout the year. Most of the year you might see them maybe sneak up to that 7th spot here and there, but for the most part, these 3 teams, 2 of them most likely miss the playoffs this year. So we'll get right into it, and we'll start with the Bolts, who I got at number 8. Thunderbolts, again, this team is completely anchored and depends on Cole Ceci. Nobody is more dependent on their goalie, I believe, than the Evansville Thunderbolts. They got to have big games out of Cole Ceci. They have to. I don't think their roster is as deep as other rosters in the league. I'm not saying they don't have good players on the team. They do. Scott Curtin, Barnaby, Dorsey, Hobbs. These are good players. They can put the puck in the net. They're just not as deep as other teams in the league, is what I'm saying, especially when it comes to team defense, discipline, and special teams. That's the word I was looking for. Again, they'll go as far as Cole Ceci takes them. As long as Cole Ceci is in Evansville, Thunderbolts got a shot at making the playoffs and will most likely lock up that 8th seed. Now, if Cole Ceci gets hurt or gets called up and is gone for a long period of time, that opens the door for the other two teams, Macon and Pensacola Ice Flyers. So again, in my opinion, Thunderbolts go as far as Cole Ceci takes them. And that's the bottom line. And that's about as honest as I can be. Not even hating, just being completely honest. Okay, so that moving on. First team I think might miss the playoffs, Macon Mayhem. Again, I do think good things are on the horizon for Macon. I do think they're an improving organization. It's well noted that they're undergoing changes, like basically from the ground up. It's a total revamping of the organization. Not just a rebuild of the lineup. It's a rebuild of the entire organization. So, that's hard to accomplish in one off season. So, most likely Macon misses the playoffs this year and stay at the bottom. But that doesn't mean they don't win games and win games against good teams. They still got good players. Alex Cohen recently acquired Patrick Marcinkiewicz. Jake Golodowski, Ishizaka. So, they still got some good players on their roster. But again, they're not a deep roster. They are dependent on a few players and definitely dependent on Josh Boyko at net. They're not as dependent as, say, like Evansville Thunderbolts is, but they need Josh Boyko to be lights out at net to have any chance at a playoff spot. And they need Boyko healthy and with them the entire season if they have any hopes of sniffing the playoffs. Like I said, I do unfortunately think they end up missing, but hopefully I'm wrong. I think it would be cool to see Macon make the playoffs this year, but it's a tall task, a very tall task ahead of them to do that. So we'll see what they got in store. Which brings me to my 10th and last place team, Pensacola Ice Flyers. I called this one well before the season started. I said this team will be in last place. This team will finish last, start last, and finish last. They're doing a whole lot of nothing. To me, I can't justify 90% of Gary Graham's moves. They don't make sense. I know people are going to say are going to call me biased for saying this, but I'm honestly not being biased. I think his best move since being Ice Flyer GM and head coach is acquiring Caden Cahill. That's been his best move by far. Outside of that, it's been head scratcher after head scratcher, chasing off his core group, captains, and who he signed. He sent a clear message that it's a team that is led by fighters and people that can lay a good hit, physical players. It's nice to have people that can be physical and fight, but that's not going to win you a President's Cup. You need more than physicality, and you need to do more than just fight. You got to score goals, play defense, everything. They do got some skilled players. I'm not saying they don't. Cameron Cook, Caden Cahill, C.J. Hayes, Ivan Bondarenko. These are good players. That's all you got. They have to stay healthy, and they have to produce. Otherwise, you're not leaving 10th place. Those guys have to produce, period. They just do. That's your best skilled players on the team. The rest of the team is just physical fighters, basically. Not the greatest defensive team in the world, and they have an average goaltender in Kevin Reesop. And that's no disrespect to Kevin Reesop. Out of Evansville Thunderbolts, Macon Mayhem, and Pensacola Ice Flyers have the weakest goaltending situation. If Kevin Reesop could win the big game, he would have done that with Quad City Storm. He's a good goalie. He'll win you some games, and he'll win big games, and he'll put on good performances. But when the games matter, he kind of disappears a little bit. And, he kind of tires throughout the season. And Kevin Reesop can't put the team on his back like a Cole Ceci or Josh Boyko. Again, those two goalies, I believe, are better goalies than Reesop. I believe Macon Mayhem and Evansville Thunderbolts are deeper than Pensacola Ice Flyers. I don't see much hope for Pensacola Ice Flyers or their fans, especially while Gary Graham's in charge. It was a blessing you got Caden Cahill. That gave you hope. That most definitely gave you hope that you can maybe finish 9th place. But, Caden Cahill will make a difference, but Caden Cahill is not going to deliver you a President's Cup alone. And I love that kid. God, I love that kid. He is a great player, was one of my favorites, probably my favorite player to watch in Peoria. You got a great player in that deal. Bottom line, you did, but you're going to have to help Caden out. If you're dependent on Caden putting this team on his back, that's very unfair to do to Caden Cahill, and not smart. Like, he's going to need a supporting cast just like any other good team does. So I believe it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough season for Pensacola and their fans, and maybe after this year, you won't see Gary Graham coaching anymore. Who knows? But that's who I got ranked 1 through 10. You can let me know if you agree or disagree. I'm sure the bottom 3 team fan bases will have comments and won't agree with everything I said. But I think most people that watch SPHL hockey would put these 3 teams in their bottom as well. I don't think that's unusual or out of the realm of possibility. I do think there's a clear bottom 3, and those are the clear bottom 3 teams. In what order they finish, we're going to have to find that out. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'll catch you in the next video. I'll be previewing, I won't be previewing Riverman against Thunderbolts because, that's a Tuesday morning game. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to have a video for that, but I'll recap it. I'll have a video recapping the Rivermen and Thunderbolts. So with that, I'll catch you on the next one, and I always keep it Riverman style.